Hey guys, right, we're kicking off with quite a tasty little pickup. It's an Acer machine, a little Veriton I suppose it's called, but quite a nice one. I picked up for just over £50, which for what it is I'm quite pleased with. If we look at the spec on here, it's a 4th gen i5, which is quite nice, especially for the price. It's only got a 4 gig of RAM in there at the moment and a 250 gig hard drive, but that's not a problem. What my plans with this one are, I'm going to pair it with this, which also I picked up for cheap, brand new power supply, 500 watt beast, which would be needed to go in there, because I plan to also pair it with this RX 460, which some of you may remember from last month's pickup video, from that other PC, which has since been rebuilt into another machine and sold, which I'm really happy about. So yeah, I'm thinking this card, new power supply, pop in a bigger hard drive and maybe an SSD if I can find a good deal on a brand new one. I don't generally tend to mess around with used ones unless I've got no other choice or unless it's a really good deal. Yeah, not bad. Pretty happy with it. I may already have somebody interested in it. Oh, there you go. There's the inside. Sorry, it's a bit dark. My main light is still a bit knackered, but that will be getting sorted soon. Nothing too interested in there. It's just an OEM machine, but by the time I've doubled the RAM up to 8 gigs and popped that card in, replaced this, which is only 300 watt, which isn't enough for the card, but that's actually quite a useful power supply in itself. It's obviously a bronze 80, decent quality one. It's very, very quiet as well. Not sure if you can hear much out of that, but yeah, it's very quiet here. And I think this has got potential. Hopefully, by the time I've put the bits in there, I've already made the money back on that computer I got this from, so everything else is just all gravy from there, but not a bad start. Okay, just thought I'd try and do a little look to see what this thing's worth, and yeah, looking at the i5 4440 that's in there, the cheapest one on eBay is about £80. I think you can actually get the slightly better 4460 for around about the same price, so yeah, take that as you will. But I think when I pair that with the card and hard drive and SSD, that should easily be a £200 system there, I think. Not bad. Let's see how this goes. Right, another interim update. This one's a bit more of a funny one. I picked this up from eBay for a silly low price. It was sold as faulty with no power, and being into my DJing, obviously, I picked it up thinking maybe it's something I could fix. Very quickly realised that it's way beyond me, this one. Basically, I wouldn't even know where to begin. The PCB for the power appears to be faulty. There's absolutely no power getting to the unit at all, and looking online for the replacement, it would cost way more than I think it would be worth. Even if I got this thing up and running, I could buy one that's fully working for around about the same total cost. So a bit of a mess up on that one. However, I relisted it straight away, and thankfully I've managed to actually make a very small profit on the whole thing. I'm literally talking like £2, but yeah, thankfully it wasn't that big of a mess up, and I'll definitely be a bit more careful with the DJing equipment in the future. Got a bit cocky with this one, yeah. Hello guys, another quick update, this time in another form of a little bargain I'm really chuffed with. Picked this up on eBay for like 20 quid, which is just unbelievable. It's a fairly decent-ish motherboard with a G630 processor and 8 gigs of DDR3, which is top banana. But what's really lucky about it, apart from the fact that I can use that CPU in that Dell, which weirdly, although I've got plenty of 1155 CPUs, it's really specific which ones it'll take, and none of them, the ones that I've got here, or at least the ones I'm prepared to put in there, because it's not in the best condition, none of them work, just won't boot. So thankfully I've checked and that 630 will boot in there, so that'll be nice, and I can finally get rid of that. But anyway, the major thing I'm happy with is the RAM is 2 Samsung 4 gig DIMMs, which is perfect. It will actually now complete the RAM here, so I'll have essentially 6 of the same Samsung DDR3, whereas at the moment, although these have got little blue shrouds on there, purely for just the way they look, I kind of like them, but I'm sort of going off them, or I might spray them white, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I'll have 6 purely matched RAM sticks, so I can go back in and revisit that and see if it makes any difference, as well as overclocking them and whatnot. So that's something good to look forward to, and leaves me with a matched pair of these ballistics to use. Yeah, not much else to update at the moment. I've got a build coming. I'm reviewing this case because I want to build a nice sort of gamery machine. This is going to be quite good actually. I'm going to be using this board, which some of you may remember from last month's video, or from that PC I bought. This is the fully working board. I've ordered the I/O plate from China, which as you can see has arrived, and that's a really decent little board. So I'll be making use of that together with a i5 3330 I managed to pick up for next to nothing on eBay. So I went a bit out of norm and bought a brand new case because I figured it was cheap and I want to review it and see what they're like. And maybe that's something I can get into, is ordering up some cheap gamery cases and building machines and then see if that makes any difference to flip it. But yeah, that together with that board, 8GB of RAM. I'll find a graphics card. I have got this 460, RX 460, but really I think I'm going to keep that in here. So that's a 4th Gen i5, and I think that'll be really nice. It's got an SSD in there. Yeah, I think I'll make use of this cooler as well. I'll just generally whap a few of my tastier bits in there and see how it goes. I've also picked up some power supplies, which they're 500 watt. They're nothing too major, but they're brand new, from Novatech, I think they were, and they were I think they were something like, they worked out about 20 odd pounds for 2, which again I'm taking a bit of a gamble, but in what I want, a brand new power supply with warranty and stuff, is going to be a lot more usable. Anyway, yeah, this is just a quick update because that's just arrived and I've unboxed it, and there's the box there, and yeah, I'm kind of pleased with it. I'm looking forward to popping that in one of my spare cases, probably that one there. Yeah, anyway, see you in the next update. Hello folks, another quick update here. It's been a few weeks since I uploaded one of these, and this is because things have been moving along pretty quickly. I've had a couple of systems come in and just go straight back out, which I've not been able to record, but now I've just had this beast turn up this morning, which was only £20, which I'm really happy with. The specification may not look much. It's a G3, 630, 6GB of RAM, blah blah blah. However, it's an LGA 1155 motherboard, which I'm going to be pairing together with a tasty CPU, which, well, once it's arrived, I will update and let you know. And again, I'm going to be building a nice system with a brand new case, just to kind of review another one of those, because I really enjoyed the last one. Before we take a look inside there and see what we've actually got, a couple of quick updates. Basically all the PCs have gone, so that 4th Gen i5 with the RX 460 has disappeared. I've just got this, which is just an empty case. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to end up ever using that, so that may get scrapped. My X58 system is looking quite tasty over there, however, it's missing some RAM, unfortunately, although you would have seen I did have a few more sticks arrive to make a complete set of the same RAM. I was in a position where one of the machines I was building needed some memory. I could shift it, so I had no choice but to take it out of there. At the end of the day, I suppose that's the name of the game. While this system isn't being my daily driver, which, well, I may end up just getting rid of the X58 motherboard and CPU. But yeah, while it's not in constant use, it makes more sense for me to make use of the RAM in there. It's a bit more, valuable to me to sell it that way. But I've got other machines which I'm sure I'll get lucky with and will have the right memory, I think. I do have some 2GB sticks, so if I really wanted to, I could push this up to 18GB. But for now, I've got a couple of benchmark videos coming up while I had the 24GB. So I'm happy to live without it for now and just see how it goes until some more memory comes in, because I do want to revisit this before I eventually get rid of it, to see if I can push things even more, to see if anything makes a difference with more or less RAM, etc, etc. Just generally have a bit more of a play. Then I've got this, which I will be refurbishing hopefully this weekend. You may remember this case from a system I picked up for very cheap. Now all the insides have gone, or anything that was useful, but I've kept the hard drive and power supply. And I think what I'm going to do is respray the main pieces, which I've already pre-removed here. I'm going to respray those in a nice matte white, and I think I'm going to use that to actually house my main system, because look at all those hard drive spaces. I do use a lot of hard drives, and that's going to be pretty damn useful. As well as, if you have a look, I've added my little fan controller that I got with that system last, in the last update you would have seen, and I've got this hard drive caddy, which would make be a lot easier for when I'm refurbishing systems and I want to check the hard drives to make sure they're all okay, etc, etc. So yeah, other things are clear. I've got rid of the Dell and basically all the other machines apart from this new one which has arrived today. Things are going well, to be honest. This video might not be as long as the other ones I've had, but there you go, that's just the nature of the beast. But for now I think I'll just whip this open and let's take a look at what's inside. Okay, so this is that Advent with the side taken off. It's a bit dusty, as you can see in there, so this thing needs a bit of a clean, but that's always something I personally find quite fun to do. There's no hard drive, which was expected. That's the way it was in the listing, but we've got a semi-decent power supply, which will certainly be usable. Let me just check what kind of connections. Yeah, it's basic, but it will absolutely do. We've got the G630 CPU, which is fine. I actually already have a plan for that, but I'll keep my mouth closed until the other parts of that plan come together. What we should have here, if this is right, is 6 gig of RAM. So we've got there 2 gigabytes. Brilliant, another 4 gigabytes. So yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly usable. This 4 gigabyte stick will be going into a pile. I find them to be a lot more useful. And yeah, the motherboard is coming out. It's nothing hugely special. It's not one of the top brands, but it's exactly what I want for a little idea. And considering I paid £20 for the whole thing, it's perfect, really. So I'm going to essentially piece this out. I'll probably use the case, so that it's not in the best condition. It's still serviceable. I can clean it up and put together a cheapy system in there. But yeah, I'm going to piece that out. The motherboard and CPU will be getting swapped around and placed into another machine, but more on that maybe in another video, or depending on how quickly they arrive, I may even stick it on the end of this. But yeah, for 20 quid, pretty damn happy, to be fair. I don't think you can really ask for much more for the price. Decent. Good morning, folks. Got another quick update here in this little tasty beast, which is just a little inconspicuous Dell on the front end of things, but it's a very tasty one. USB 3s and whatnot, all kind of mod stuff, but that's the main thing there. It's an i7. Now this particular machine, I've already got plans for. I picked it up for just a silly price. It's an i7 3770, I think, if I remember rightly, which I'm actually going to build a whole other machine around. So I'm going to actually end up downgrading this one but selling it on, and the tasty bits from this, the CPU, maybe the RAM, I'll have a quick open of it now, they're going to go into a nice system build which I'm going to do for another case review, as I found a case I want to take a look at. Yeah, let's crack it open and have a look. But overall, I love Dells anyway, and this one is a very beefy one, so let's see what's inside. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. Nothing too exciting in there. There's no hard drive, which was expected. There's no hard drive caddy, which would normally be a pain. However, I do have some adapters which will let me put hard drives up here, so when I do downgrade this and sell it on, that's not going to be a problem. But it's obviously the juicy CPU under there, and maybe the RAM. Let's have a look what we've got in here. Just swap hands. What is that? Oh, okay. So 4 gigabytes of 1600 megahertz RAM. Have we got 2 of them? yeah, perfect. So that's 8 gig of DDR3, that's going to be ideal. The graphics card, now there was nothing at all that told me what this was, but I just saw the back of it and saw it's got HDMI and whatnot, so it's going to be usable for me no matter what, really. But let's have a look. Maybe it's something better than I think. I have had some of these older Dells where it came with a quite a decent looking, I think it was an R7 but that was before I did any YouTube videos or anything, otherwise I would have kind of reviewed it. Let's have a look. How do I get this thing off? Alright, 1 second, guys. Okay, that was actually a bit more of a pain in the butt than it needed to be because of the way that capacitor is and the way the card and the memory is. I had to squeeze my hand underneath to push this little tab here, which was not ideal, but yeah, that's the card. Let's turn it over. Okay, I think I might need to Google that. It's not exactly obvious on there. Okay, let me check. Okay, well, according to Google, this card here is a Radeon 7570, 1GB. So that's fine, that's cool, that's definitely usable. And you know what, something that I will probably benchmark anyway and see what it can do. Because I'm always interested in these Radeon cards now. I've had a few in a run which have been excellent value for money. But yeah, enough of that. I think this will turn into something quite nice. As I'm looking at it, it is almost a shame in some ways that I am going to be disassembling this or downgrading it so far, because it is quite a nice machine. You can see it's got wireless and everything all built in, but for what I paid for it, I can take all the good stuff out and resell it as a much downgraded system with the G630 I had in the Advent system you guys would have seen by now. So yeah, by the time I've swapped all these parts around and got enough ready to rebuild something else, it's going to be fine. I will make my money back on just this unit and have all the good bits spare, but still, I do love Dell, so in some ways it is a bit of a shame to disassemble it, but hey, oh, there you go. Anyway, that's another update. I'm expecting a couple more bits and bobs in the next day or so, and that will be it for this year's pickups videos, I think. Obviously I need to flip what I've got, as well as maybe take a break for the Christmas period, but we'll see. I suppose I never really stop looking for bargains, so yeah, maybe another sneaky video will appear. But yeah, and other than that, let's crack on. Just had some more things arrive, a pair of them in fact. I've got a couple of HP systems that I managed to get for like £20 each, which is ridiculous. They've got USB 3 and whatnot. They're nothing particularly amazing spec wise. They've got I think it's an A4 7300 processor. So I've not got big plans for these at all. They're just going to be an almost straightforward flip, but I am going to be taking out the RAM, as I believe they came with 8 gigs of DDR3 as well. Let me just swap hands. Okay, that's not coming off too easily, but I'll quickly pause the recording and we'll have a look at what's on the inside. Nothing too exciting at all, but certainly for what I paid for them, this should be a nice pair of PCs to just easily get in and straight back out, hopefully double my money. Right, that's the side now off, and I'm very glad I didn't have any plans for these, because look at the state of what's in there. I mean, it's all functional. Obviously you've got everything you'd need, but a proprietary power supply? Ugh. Absolutely disgusting. Oh, and in fact, these are laptop style DVD writer as well. Yuck. But for what I wanted, which was basically just to harvest the RAM, downgrade it, pop a hard drive in and sell them back on. For somebody they'll be a perfectly usable machine, but I'm not interested. Not too bad, especially for the pair of them, and they are in very reasonable condition as well, and they do look really tidy, to be fair. Somebody would want one. Not bad. Just in case anyone's wondering, this is the whole reason I wanted them. I was hoping for decent branded memory, and that's what we've got. So we've now got assuming it's the same in both machines, we've now got 16 gigs of 1600 speed DDR3 RAM, which very, very happy with. That'll either go into another system, or I may use it to make up the deficit in my X58 system, which hopefully, if I've put this together the way it's come to me, will make sense. But yeah, not too bad. I mean, yuck, but once I've popped some 4 gigs of any old RAM I can find in there, yeah, perfectly easy thing to flip. So can't complain. Okay, it's definitely the final update for this particular pickup video. This is what's arrived this morning. A cool case, or at least it looked cool in the pictures, that I'm going to be reviewing. Some Game Max case, which by the looks of the pictures looks like a smaller version of the one my X58 system's in. That's pretty cool. I managed to get that for like £18, which is pretty crazy. Apparently the box had been opened, but it was still new, so that's fine. And I've got a power supply here, which I've got for £9 from the same company too, which was box.co.uk. I think I've never heard of them before, but when I was doing a bit of a search around, I found them. So yeah, £9 for that, £18 for that. Poof, what a steal, to be fair. And it seems like a decent power supply. It's a CIT 500 watt one. It's got all the usual connectors, including the PCIe one, which isn't that common for dirt cheap power supplies. And for the build I've got planned for this, well, should be ideal. The other 2 systems that you saw last, that was actually yesterday, the HPs, they've gone. I found a buyer for them immediately, so more than double my money, and sold them both to the same chap, so he's probably got his own little hustle going on there, but that's fine by me. I've managed to garnish all of the tasty RAM out of them, so I've got 16 gigs of 1600 megahertz RAM. You can also see the sneaky case that I've painted, or is in the middle of being painted, although it looks pretty good in this image. It isn't quite finished yet, but that's its own separate video. So yeah, next up I'm going to be, I'm not 100% committed to this. The more I keep thinking about the Dell, the more I think I could just put a graphics card in there and just sell it for straight up profit. But my original plan was to essentially take the board out of that, the processor out of that, the RAM from there, whip it all together into that case, and voila, I've got a really tasty i7 machine to sell. But yeah, I'm not too sure on that. I still need to have a good think. But initially, that's my gut feeling what I'm going to go with. We'll see if that actually how it pans out. Anyway, I think it's probably time to end this particular pickup video, so I'm going to do a little outro here. If you've enjoyed it, then do drop me a like. If you want to see more of this stuff and hear me waffling about crap even more, then well, yeah, drop a subscribe on there. To everyone that's been supporting me lately, the comments and the amount of subscribers have just been incredible. I mean, I know I'm still only a tiny weeny channel, however, the things you guys have been saying, it's just incredible, honestly. I can't really say much more without gushing, really. I really love it. It's something, I started this whole thing just as a bit of fun because I wanted to play around with the X58, and it's grown into something which I seriously enjoy doing, so thank you again, guys. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.